and welcome along to a slightly different edition of Diecast Restos. I've been tasked with making a Slotcar replica of Auto Alex's MX-5 named Phil by Ben from Decals. Ben's message is that having young kids shouldn't mean you don't get to drive exciting cars, and also advocates for kids' entertainment at car shows. He had a stall booked for the Auto Alex Shedfest car show, where there would be a scale-electric track for kids to have a go on. With a couple of weeks to go before Shedfest, Ben asked me if I would again recreate Alex's Phil in Slotcar scale. I was happy to help, so Ben arranged for a modified MX-5 model be sent to me. This was kindly provided by Pendle Slot Racing. I will leave a link to their website in the video description. If you need a reminder, here's how the real Phil MX-5 looks. I recreated this in Hot Wheels form earlier this year. With this how it turned out. I was really pleased with that result, so I was eager to give this project a try. It's a really well detailed resin model with a moulded driver, sculpted interior, rollover hoops and a choice of raised or lowered pop-up lights. I went with lowered, knowing the Slotcar would likely be crashed repeatedly during the course of the day. It's easily disassembled, with the chassis and body being held together with 3 Phillips screws. The motor, guide and contacts were all pre-assembled, making my first foray into Slotcar building a little easier. It arrived at my house 10 days before Shedfest, so I couldn't afford to make any mistakes. The pressure was on. I prepared the resin body by sanding it with 1600 grit wet and dry paper and giving it a wash with soapy water. I'm sure my techniques were a bit amiss of most Slotcar builders. But time was of the essence, and supplies were limited to what I had available on my desk. I have to give a shout out to Swiftslots, whose step-by-step guide building a PCR BTCC Volvo 850 estate was an incredible source of information for a complete novice like me. I'm ensuring that those headlight covers and wing mirrors are glued in extra securely, knowing that the model is going to be punished. I'm also affixing the gauge cluster now. You know how I said I couldn't afford anything to go wrong? Well, it did. This coat of Tamiya Grey primer went on terribly. It was lumpy and looked plain awful. It doesn't come across too badly on camera, but it was shocking, running everywhere. With the deadline in mind, I did what you should never do when painting or priming models. I panicked. I tried foolishly to rinse off the primer rather than let it dry and rub it down. Then the bottle of Dettol I had split and spilt everywhere. My workspace still reeks of it. While that worked its magic on the resin, I sprayed the other parts in Tamiya's light grey fine surface primer instead. These parts came out looking much better, so I could quickly move on to painting. Ben asked me to not concern myself too much with detailing, as at the end of the day it is just a toy that is going to get battered about. Still, a little colour on the driver wouldn't hurt. The 2-piece wheels are coated in semi-gloss black, and once they are done, they should replicate Phil's wheels quite nicely. The interior was a bit patchy on the first coat, and this did continue into the second and third coats. But as it would be mostly obscured, I settled with it. Given a bit more time, I'd have definitely treated it to some more attention. The body is now receiving its second primer attempt, this time with Tamiya's fine surface primer. It still isn't perfect, but being the exterior, I felt it needed improving with some more rubbing down. So I go again with the wet and dry paper. You can see the effect it's had on the bonnet in particular. The imperfections were more obvious on the sharper edges, but it was slowly getting there, so it received another coat of primer. Identical to the Hot Wheels version, this is getting a couple of coats of Tamiya's TS95 Pure Metallic Red. This is topped with a couple more layers of TS74 Clear Red to match Phil's Mazda Soul Red shade. While I love the colour of the TS95, the addition of the Clear Red makes it a bit richer and a better match to Phil. You can't really see much of a difference in this footage, but to the naked eye it is definitely noticeable. Included in the box from Pendle Slot Racing were some water slide decals, which while looking great, I won't be using on this build. I glue in the rollover hoops to the interior section and line the inside of the rims to finish them off. How good do they look? With a bit of time to kill between coats, I use my basic paint pens to liven up the driver. As I say, it's far from my best efforts, but detail was never on the agenda for this build. The rims are all clear coated. While I had that out, I clear coat my custom decals to help make this model look a little more like Phil. Ben asked me to put the Auto Alex logo on the hardtop roof of the Model 2. The Resin model still needed a few touches of detail to give it some more visual interest. So it gets a Mazda badge at the front, bases for the side lights, door handles, wing mirror glass, and the base for the tail lights all drawn in. These light clusters are very sculptured, so I'm not sure how well the supplied light decals would apply to them. The exhaust gets a touch of chrome, while the intake lamps and front grille get a coat of black. The wipers are drawn in black too. With the chrome base layers now dry, the lighting is coloured with Sharpie pens. Hopefully this method will look as good as it does on die-cast models when they are filled in at their smaller scale. That is of course after a brushing of Citadel Gloss Nuln Oil to bring out the depth of the lighting, which I am doing here. It helps to highlight the moulding lines as well, such as this door handle. My hastily customised driver is getting a new face. After a blue tack cosmetic surgery, he has been transformed into a 2D Alex Kirsten, complete with the obligatory surprised excited look of course. He's then glued secure into his seat. Now it's time to apply some decals. Naturally, I'm adding in the yellow stripes that help to define Phil, but I am foregoing quite a few of the smaller stickers and front number plate for example. One thing I won't be excluding though are the hood vents, again a defining feature of Phil. It's nice to be able to do the roof this time, as the Hot Wheels model looks better without, in my opinion. Ben requested a large Auto Alex logo on the model, and we agreed the roof would be the best place for it. I think it sits there quite nicely, perhaps an idea for the real Phil Alex. It's kinda like free advertising. I felt that the carbon wing needed to be added as well, since the yellow stripes didn't really have anywhere to end without it. I added in some more carbon for the rear, albeit without the collection of stickers and badges. I then finished it off with the signature O-Fill number plate. All of those decals are set with some Mr. Mark softer solution. I really went to town with the clear lacquer, giving the body several coats to ensure the paint had the best possible protection from crash damage. With the tyres back on the wheels, I can now reassemble the chassis. The front axle additionally has spacers fitted. Now was a crucial time, testing. I grabbed my 30-year-old Scale X-Trick track from the loft, cleaned it up a bit and made sure that the motor ran sweetly. Unfortunately, I had nothing else on hand to secure the windscreen, so I had to rely on super glue for that job. Likewise, the interior piece I had to hold in place with masking tape. In Swiftslots' video, he recommended foil tape, which I didn't have to hand nor the time to order in. But it did the trick, with some styrene sheet sitting directly above the motor. It's definitely built for play, not performance, this one. Now earlier, I wrote a little message for Alex on the bottom of the chassis, very apt for an MX-5. Plus, I signed it off in my usual fashion for custom pieces. And now it's time to reassemble using those 3 Phillips screws. I again want to thank Pendle Slot Racing for sending out this MX-5 kit to me. It's really high quality and I'm so glad they offer this modified body. I reduce the height of the guide by sanding it down, then I test the complete model on my basic circuit. And here it is, on track at Dadcar's stall at Shedfest. Again, a massive shout out to Dadcars for providing this sanctuary for families at these events, and a sincere thank you for considering me to make this custom fill replica. It was a fun challenge to work on in a limited timescale, and hopefully there'll be more of the same in future. Leave a like if you enjoyed this break from the norm, and comment your thoughts on this speedy project. Show some love to Dadcars. I'll leave a link to his channel in the comments and make sure you subscribe. But all that leaves me to say is thanks for watching and I'll see you again for the next one. Bye for now.